I didn't dream as a little girl of being a professor, nor did I actually dream of running a nonprofit. I wanted to be a pilot, a doctor, Madonna.
Our social entrepreneurs are people who have been on the front lines of social change. I've learned so much from talking with them. This is Cafe Impact, and I'm Jonathan Lewis.
There are alternative paths. The one that everybody expects you to go on, the one that we're told leads to X, Y, Z, which is success in everybody's book, there are always other ways there.
In college, I played volleyball, and then my friend and fellow volleyball player, we decided we would go out to California and try to play on the Miller Lite Beach Volleyball Tour. We had great ambitions of great wealth and great success and, long-term careers and Adidas contracts.
Right.
While it's still in college, I had applied for this job with the Legislative Service Commission in Ohio. It was a very competitive job. I had called my mother from California. She said, "You have to be in Columbus, Ohio for the interview in 3 days." I sorted this out with my friend who I was playing with and drove cross-country day and night. And I walked into the State House Capitol so tired because of this long trek that I was completely relaxed. And I think perhaps because I was so relaxed, they chose me in the end, and I attribute it to my cross-country trek and playing fruitless, futile volleyball.
Why don't you just tell us about this idea that you have about risk-taking?
In art school, I made a slightly rash decision, and one that my parents definitely did not approve of, and I went and got a mohawk. And it's, at this point, I think my hair was down to my elbows, so it was a lot of hair. She lifts it up, and literally just with one snip, it's falling to the ground, and I'm having that moment of panic going, what did I just do? It was one of those moments in life when you take a risk that you don't entirely know how it's going to go. But it's worth taking that risk because it's not a permanent decision. And it was something that was going to help me become more of who I wanted to be.
So were you a good student?
Terrible student. I was a horrible high school student. I was bored silly. I was like a little punk rocker. I cut off all my hair, dyed it blue, painted my face, wore black lipstick, listened to The Cure. I was just pissed a lot. I barely graduated high school. And thanks to the good graces of a friend's dad who encouraged me to go to college, went to college, and I loved college. I loved the environment, I loved the learning, I loved the social because you were no longer who you used to be. And at college it was like I was a straight A student.
Other Mohawks in your life. I want to hear how you got a job in China.
I was getting over a horrific breakup, absolutely awful. And I was looking for an experience so challenging and absorbing that I would not have any space to think about the person I was trying to get over. So I basically went on the internet and looked for a bunch of different schools, picked up the phone, called the principals from England and said, "Hi, I'm Jasmine. I'm planning on moving to Beijing. I want to come and teach for you. I'll be honest, I don't have in-class experience, but here are my transferable skills and here is why I would be an asset to your school." I then proceeded to bug them with emails and just consistently following up, trying to build a relationship with them, to understand what it was that they needed, and then to let them know how and if I thought that I would be a good fit for that. And one of the principals called me back after a while and said, "You know what, Jasmine, I think we're going to do this." That was my first job where the reason I was getting up every morning was to create something of more value than just money. I was teaching 30 children who were 3-4 years old from all over the world. They were having their first experiences of coming together as international citizens. And that felt like an important and purposeful reason to go to work.
Tell me at 14 what you knew about yourself.
At 14, I knew I wanted to be a nurse because I wanted to help people until I couldn't get a B in organic chemistry and I was not let into nursing school. And then I decided, I took a film class and I wanted to become a documentarian so that I could become the voice of the voiceless. So I went to film school and I was happy that I didn't get into nursing school.
Right. Yeah, sure. You go from art school to teaching in China.
Yeah.
You find that you want to make a difference in the world and you need purpose, and then you decide to get an MBA. That feels like a long, long way around.
It was the long way around. Incredibly secured.
Yeah. What was bringing you back? And especially to BYU to get an MBA?
That was another Mohawk. This was like one of the ultimate Mohawks. I was an art student. I hadn't taken a math class in plus 10 years maybe. It was a very scary, daunting opportunity that I felt almost shouldn't be given to me because I didn't fit, but at the same time was something I wanted. I'd sat in on some MBA classes, and the knowledge that I saw made me think, everybody needs to know this. This is just stuff that everybody needs to know, and I want to know this. Moving from Beijing, China to Provo, Utah was scary, really scary. But I knew that going through not only that risk-taking process of figuring out if I could thrive somewhere that was out of my comfort zone, but then also figuring out if I could survive this crazy, grueling master's program experience, I was going to come out the other side, somebody completely different, and there was a very good chance it was somebody that I wanted to be.
I really respect and appreciate how, in your mind, looking back on those early decisions didn't feel like a high risk to you. Would you today, because then was then and now is now, would you today be advising your students to take $50 and go off to Nairobi to study law at the best university in Kenya?
I think I would ask them that question, what's the epic meaning for you? If the answer is definitive and really epic, then I would buy that. Or if the answer is, I really don't know, it just excites me, I would buy that too. Don't go there with a big ego, go there with big meaning for yourself.